What if I told you the Magi weren't 3 but 4? There was a 4th king. He too had seen the star. He too carried precious gifts. But he never reached Bethlehem in time. The church's spiritual tradition tells his story not as a simple fairy tale, but as a powerful mirror for everyone who, deep down, fears they have come too late to God. The story of the 4th Magus is born precisely from this restlessness. It is not found in the Gospels. It is not a historical chronicle in the strict sense, but an ancient spiritual narrative that does not claim to add anything to Scripture. Rather, it helps us look at it from a different angle, more personal, closer to our fears and our hopes. According to this tradition, alongside the Magi we all know, there was another. His name was Artaban. He too watched the sky. He too knew the ancient prophecies. He too awaited the sign that would change the history of the world forever. When the star appeared, he had no doubts. That bright point did not announce an ordinary event, but the birth of a king unlike any other. A king who would not rule by the force of weapons, but by a light capable of crossing centuries and reaching every heart. Artaban prepared for the journey with 3 precious gifts, worthy of a king: gold for royalty, gems for sacrifice, and a precious stone as the sign of faithful love. On the night when the star shone brightest, Artaban set out. The desert was silent, the sky clear, and within him was the certainty that he was walking toward the ultimate meaning of his entire existence. He was not simply going to pay homage to a sovereign, he was going to meet a promise. Every step was a prayer, every stop an act of trust. But Artaban's journey, from the very beginning, was not like that of the other Magi. In haste, as he tried to catch up with them, he saw at the edge of the road a man half dead, robbed, and abandoned. The star seemed to call him forward, but that man held him back. In that moment, he understood he could not have both. Either reach the king in time, or save that life. Artaban lifted his eyes to the star, then lowered them to the wounded man. He knew every minute lost could mean arriving late, missing forever the encounter he had awaited for years. But he also knew he could not ignore that silent cry. He chose to stop. With a heart in turmoil, he sold one of his precious stones to obtain medicine, water, and safe shelter for the dying man. He stayed beside him until he was out of danger. Only then did he resume the journey. When he raised his eyes to the sky again, he realized the star was now far away, and his traveling companions, the other 3 Magi, were nowhere to be seen. The appointment had been missed. At least, that is how it seemed. From that moment, his life became a long search. He kept following the traces of that child, passing through villages and cities, listening to the stories of shepherds, the voices of travelers, the news that ran from one tavern to another. Wherever he heard of wonders, of a mysterious birth, of an awaited Messiah, he would set out again. Thus began a chain of choices. Every time he thought he was close to his destination, something stopped him. It was never the same face. One time, a hungry child, another time, a desperate mother, then an innocent condemned man. And each time the same question pierced his heart. If I help them, will I lose the encounter with my king? But each time he opened his hand, giving up a piece of his gifts, his time, his strength, to ease suffering, to restore dignity, to save a life. The years passed, one after another. The gifts diminished, then almost disappeared. Artaban's strength began to fade, his hair turned white, his step grew uncertain. The star no longer shone in the sky as it had at the beginning, and doubt began to make its way into his heart. Had he truly missed the most important encounter? Artaban grew old with this question inside him. I have missed the most important encounter of my life. One day, weary and bent with age, he arrived in Jerusalem. The city was in turmoil. The streets were full of people running, shouting, arguing. Roman soldiers shoved the crowd back. and at the center of it all was a man crowned with thorns carrying a heavy cross on his shoulders. When he asked who that man was, someone answered almost indifferently, "It's Jesus of Nazareth. They will crucify him." That name struck Artaban more sharply than any sword. Jesus. The name he had sought his entire life. The child of Bethlehem was now there, broken, rejected, with a cross on his shoulders. In an instant he understood that the star had led him to that day. But he felt he had arrived too late. He had not been in Bethlehem. He had not adored the child in the grotto. He had not presented his gifts before the manger, and now he had almost nothing left to offer. Their eyes perhaps met for an instant, but it was too late for gold and incense. As the cross was raised on Golgotha, Artaban felt definitively defeated. Everything seemed lost. He had only one last precious stone left, hidden and guarded for years, the final gift he had kept with the hope of placing it one day into the hands of the King of Kings. At that very moment, in the chaos of the city, he saw a young woman being dragged away by force. She was terrified, about to be sold as a slave. No one defended her. No one spoke for her. Artaban understood immediately that to save her, he would have to give up the only treasure he still possessed. There would be no other chances, no other gift to keep for his king. It was the final crossroads. Keep something for himself and for Jesus, or lose everything for a stranger. Once again, Artaban chose to love, to the very end. He sold that precious stone as well, paid the ransom for the young woman, and set her free. Immediately afterward, exhausted, he collapsed to the ground. His body could endure no more. Years and labors had consumed him. Everything he had dreamed of, all his plans, seemed to dissolve into one great regret, never having truly managed to meet his king. And it is precisely in that instant that, according to the tradition, something happens that gives meaning to his entire life. In the silence of his heart, Artaban hears a voice. It is not a voice that accuses, not a voice that reproaches, not a voice that speaks of delays or failures. It is gentle and powerful at the same time, and it says, "Whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers of mine, you did for me." In that moment, his heart opens. Artaban understands. He understands he had never lost Jesus. He understands he was not late. He understands that the king he sought could not be found only in a grotto lit by a star, but was hidden day after day in the faces of those who suffer, those who are alone, those who are cast aside. His whole life, which had seemed to him like a long detour, had in reality been the most direct road to God. Every renunciation, every gift, every time he chose love instead of haste, he had truly met the one he was seeking. The story of the fourth Magus is not about a man who failed, but about a man who met Christ without recognizing him at first, through the wounds of others. It is a story that challenges a superficial idea of faith, the kind that measures everything by results, by milestones achieved, by spiritual goals accomplished. Here, faith is measured in concrete love, in time given, in the ability to stop even when it seems the sky is slipping away above our heads. And that is why this story touches us so closely. Because many, perhaps you too, feel like Artaban. You started with enthusiasm, you saw a star, you made plans, and then life slowed you down. Responsibilities, wounds, mistakes, people to love, burdens to carry. The tradition of the fourth Magus responds with disarming tenderness. It says that you do not lose God when you love. It says that Christ is not encountered only in solemn moments, in crowded churches, in great spiritual emotions, but also in the dark passages where you choose the good and no one sees you. It says that even the one who arrives before God tired, with hands that seem empty, may discover that those hands are actually full of acts of love he has never forgotten. If today you feel late, if you think you have not been faithful enough, strong enough, consistent enough, Let the story of the fourth Magus whisper to you a simple and powerful truth. God does not ask you to run faster than your life. He asks you to love within the road you are walking. And if this story speaks about you too, write in the comments, "Jesus, help me recognize your face in those who suffer." May the Lord bless all of us.